Night.
All right, what's up, guys? We have made it back to home base safe and sound after a fantastic night of fights in Tallahassee. Our first pro card of the year that was hosted live on Spectation Sports. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. We enjoyed putting them on. And I am gathered here together with Mitchell to talk about some of those contests. Well, actually all of them, because, man, we had some incredible fights. David Angel, King David, just said some interesting fights. That is a fact, my boy.
Yes, we had some fire fights. Guys, I got to lean in for this one. Listen, there ain't no regional. I don't know if we can be called a regional promotion anymore, but there's no one doing what we're doing. We literally just had a sold-out event in Fort Lauderdale. We can bring it back to Tallahassee. We do the same thing there. Packed house, running 2 events in 1 week. A total of like 40 plus fights. I just want to give a lot of love to my team and the people behind the scenes that are making this happen. We literally had 1 event in Fort Lauderdale and 1 event in Tallahassee. For those of you that aren't real familiar with the state of Florida, that is like a 7-8 hour time difference or travel distance. So, you know, that could have easily just been 2 different states for a lot of reasons. But just want to show a lot of love to the Combat Night team. Also, giving up their Valentine's Day weekend to provide the best in live mixed martial arts for our Tallahassee fans. It's been a dope week. I love these back-to-back events. I really get fired up, and I had a good time. But yeah, let's talk about the event, man. It was a crazy, one of the most violent events. It's going to be these first 3 events of the year. Sorry, I know I keep talking. Wow. All 3 of them. We've had some violent finishes. Knockout of the year contenders, multiple I already know are going to be in the running for knockout of the year. Fights of the year. It was just both of these cards are delivered, but Tallahassee really showed up for the first pro fight of the year.
Yeah, I don't think that can be understated, because when we started in Orlando, we were like, yo, this is maybe one of the best amateur shows we've had in Orlando. We'll see how Fort Lauderdale shows up. Incredible fights in Fort Lauderdale, and then we'll say, well, pressure's on the pro show. And then, man, they delivered. There's somebody in the chat asking where that one black guy with the beard. He couldn't make the show, so he's not doing the pre and post show with us. He had a wedding to go to on Valentine's Day, so Miles is not with us.
He will be back.
Yes, he definitely will be back. He just wasn't with us this weekend. Sean Combs is asking, P. Diddy, is that you? What up, Brian? We see you in there. Good work last night, buddy. And yeah, we'll definitely be talking about Hutto versus Hefner, but we're going to start this show off talking about the main event, which was a featherweight bout between Andres Cordero and Lucas Alexander. Cordero, tons of experience. Lucas Alexander, he looked like a world beater last night in a fight that I don't think lasted more than 30 or 45 seconds.
Yeah, and let us know, King David Angel, what fight specifically you're talking about, so we can make sure we talk about those. Appreciate you watching the stream as well. Man, Lucas, got out there and went straight to work with his kicks. Went low pretty hard, almost knocked the base out. He did knock the base out of Cordova, and then he faked it low and came high over the top. Kind of tried to turn away from the kick, caught him in the back of the head. And that was the first mistake and the only mistake he was able to make in that fight. Lucas was smart, swarmed him, and got the TKO. It was I knew that Lucas was going to have the advantage in the striking, but the fact that he wasted no time getting comfortable and went straight for the kill was pretty impressive. Cordova got a crazy record, got 35 professional fights. He's at 500. Lucas is coming off of a couple back-to-back wins in the UFC. So it was an interesting fight on paper, and I just didn't expect for Lucas to get to work as quick as he did.
Yeah, those low calf kicks were like he was trying to kick 60-yard field goals, and he was just blasting Cordero's leg up off the ground. That was what initiated it. Our co-main event, Onal Girones versus Corey Taylor. Corey Taylor picked up the win via KO, but not without facing some adversity first.
Yes, in my opinion, that fight could potentially, I mean, fight of the night, maybe. It was a great fight. Maybe for the pro side, it could end up being something for fight of the year. You know, both guys were hurt at different moments. The referee mistook a body kick for a nut shot. But the referee doing the right thing, as soon as he saw he made the wrong call, he said, Corey, you gotta be ready to fight. He's like, made him go right back to fighting. Corey recovered very well from the body shot. And then shortly after that, he got into a couple flurries, took some big shots, landed some big shots, but Ronaldo backed up out of that exchange, and Corey walked him down. And he didn't just throw a big right hand, right? Like Ronaldo was expecting that. If you guys watched the video on Instagram, he feinted super hard. Ronaldo threw his hands up, and then he fucking, as he started to relax to put him down, Corey just landed a sweet right hand straight to his chin, and finished up with some ground and pound, and ended up getting the victory. And then a very, very, I'm not sure what his celebration was. I'd love for Corey to maybe get in the comments at some point and tell us what he was doing.
Fish out of water.
For his celebration. Yeah, someone called it the electric chair. Thought that was a good analogy. But yeah, great fight back and forth, man.
Girones was throwing smoke like for the entire fight, and every time they got close, because Corey did have a reach advantage. He was 5 or 6 inches taller than him, but every time he got close, man, Girones was just throwing absolute heat, and clipped him a couple times early, and Corey just wore it well. But Girones was throwing smoke all the way until the last.
Yes, very impressive.
So props to Corey Taylor picking up that win in our co-main event. An exciting fight. Before that, we had a featherweight bout between Soufiane Kabyle and Romelo Union. This was, in my opinion, one of the more interesting fights. Soufiane won that fight via split decision, taking his record to 3-0. And that was a close fight. We had the benefit of some real-time stats coming into us from Spectation. And so we were able to actually get, I assume a pretty accurate strike count round by round. And it was, updating as if they were going back and looking through and seeing oh, we missed one. And it was adding. They were dead even in strikes in the first round. And Soufiane got a takedown. And then they were, Romelo had a slight advantage in strikes by 2 or 3 strikes in the second round. And he had a takedown in that round. And then the last round, it was pretty close, slight edge going to Romelo in strikes, but takedown attempts and were just in abundance. He didn't really secure any takedowns, but Soufiane, I think, attempted 7 or 8 in that final round. And that, I guess, was probably the difference maker in terms of controlling and dictating the pace.
Yeah, I didn't agree with the decision. I'm not a judge, though. I do think that it could have went either way. It was a very close fight. I'm not taking anything away from either of these guys. It was a war. It was a great fight. They clearly had different game plans. I think, in my opinion, if Romelo had not settled on the cage so much after those takedown attempts, for me, a takedown attempt shouldn't even be scored. That's like saying you're scoring someone who threw a jab because they threw it. Like, okay, cool, you threw a jab, I stopped it. You're not getting a point for that. You shouldn't get a point for a takedown attempt. It shouldn't even be talked about in scoring, in my opinion. The damage and the effective striking and effective grappling should always prevail. And it's like, how effective is the grappling if you're not getting them down and you're not doing any damage, or you're not, doing anything? But at the same time, Romelo, get off the cage. You can't hang out there. So it's funny. We had one judge score at 30-27, so Soufiane, and one judge score at 30-27 for Romelo. I couldn't see that. I felt like there was a possibility for Romelo because Romelo got a pretty good drop takedown and was doing a lot of damage in that second round. But for the life of me, I couldn't see how they could have scored that second round for Soufiane. But I could have seen a 30-27 for Romelo. Again, I just didn't see. I wish I'd have seen more from Soufiane. If he'd broke off through some strikes, go back to the takedown, go for more takedown attempts. I feel like he was just hanging out in the double leg position. But I get it. It was a close fight. It was a very close fight. He also landed some big shots on Romelo. I think it was in the third round. He hit Romelo, and Romelo was eyes open, oh shit, yeah, you hit me. So I just wish there was a little bit more stand up. I think both the guys were landing their own shots and some big shots. I wish it would have been
I think it's fair to mention that despite the strike count being even, Soufain was wearing the damage on his face. He was cut, bleeding, lumped, swollen. And I know even at the end of the bout, when they were still like, they didn't become buddies after this. They were still talking and going back and forth. And Romello was like, yeah, look, nothing, you know, chipped up. So I guess that just wasn't factored in that either. In the chat, Dallas Gibson, he said, being biased, I think Romello won. Other guy got rocked hard and taken down and actually held down. Takedown attempt shouldn't count for anything. And
yeah,
that's
I agree,
that's
Dallas.
one of Romello's teammates.
Yeah, I agree, Dallas. I just don't think it's just like if someone throws a jab and they throw 100 jabs, but none of them land. And the other guy threw 10 rights and they all landed. Like, who's more? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm not mad with the decision. Again, I see how Soufiane won too. But I'm always going to side with the guy who's trying to finish the fight. Like, that just to me is like, you're trying to finish the fight. You landed some good knees, some good shots. And the other guy is more content on just holding and kind of peppering. I want to see the guy going for the finish. But again, hey, that's the game we play. Don't leave it to the judges. And don't hang out in the cage. Guys, I see this a lot. At this level. The last thing you want to do is end up a fight. You still got your breath. And you let the guy hold you on the cage for, 5 minutes of the 15. It's like probably not a good idea. You want to make them work.
Yeah, Brian said, I'm glad I didn't let my fight go to the judges. Yeah, that's not the best course. Moving on, prior to that, we had a lightweight bout between Francisco Segredo and Vic Dixit, who picked up a pretty dominant statement win via KO in round 1. Taking his record to 4-0 against a very game Segredo, who fought several times last year, was looking to keep the ball rolling to start this year, but just came up short in that first round with to some fantastic striking from Vic.
Yeah, man, I love Frankie. I know I say it every time, win, lose, or draw. I love his personality, his attitude. He's a true martial artist. I think Vic Dixit is the same. I love watching Vic fight. I'll be honest, his fights with us have been a little not lackluster, but like shit just happens, right? Like he triangle choked the guy didn't tap, the ref stopped it. It was weird. He got the win, and then him and Bruno, before the fight really even got started, Bruno hit him with a knee as he was down the opponent, concussed him. He gets the DQ win. He fought. I can't think of the other guy's name off the top of my head, but it was a grinding fight. And then against Francisco Segredo, like, man, you talk about a killer, bruh. He came playing no games right away. He hasn't been in the cage for a very long time, dealing with some different stuff. And for him to look the way he did was very impressive. I can't wait to see what's next for him. I hope he continues to keep fighting and stay busy. Frankie just got caught, man. It was a very fast punch, and Vic was very measured and smart in the way that he once he hurt him and the way that he finished him. I mean, great fight out of Vic, and then even better call out.
Yeah, the call out was good.
And I have watched this unfold online. Okay, for what it's worth, I like some shit talking online. The Mikey and Vic drama has happened for a long time, and Vic's been pretty chill and not saying much back. So I was like the way he just kept that same professionalism, called him out, said he wants to fight. Mikey got in the cage. Mikey just had a kid. I think Mikey is focused on getting back in the cage soon. He just beat the guy that beat Mikey too, and he finished him. Mikey got beat by this guy decision. He finished him. Makes for a very interesting matchup. I'm really looking forward to this. I think that the fans are really excited about the possibility of Vic Dixit and Mikey Conlon as well. Yeah, I hope it happens soon. I want to see it. Let's run it. May, March, whatever, June 20th in Tampa. What's up, guys? Let's run it. So there's plenty of time for them to get ready. Yeah, I can't wait.
I thought it was a really classy call out. I wasn't aware of their Instagram beef. As far as I know, Mikey's got Instagram beef with everybody. But yes. I like the way Vic handled that call out, and was just like, it's whatever. Like, let's just fight. And then we got a little face off out of it. So way to book your next one, Vic.
Yes.
All right. Prior to that, we had a lightweight bout between Walter Fireheart Zelaya and make money, not friends, Brian Santiago, who picked up the submission to strikes in round number 2 and stays undefeated at 2-0.
Yeah, man, what a beautiful fight. These guys really got in there and thugged it out and threw down. Brian was landing some nasty ground and pound. I expected Brian to use his range a little bit more. He did with the front kicks, but there, in the beginning of that fight, he stepped in the pocket sometimes where I don't think he necessarily had to, and took some big shots. He's tough. He took them. Walter took some of his best shots. The back and forth was insane. Walter got hit with the point deduction. I didn't see the exact moment what happened, so I can't really tell you if I felt it was fair or not. But I know it was a cage grab, correct?
Mm-hmm.
How bad was it?
It was a full grab. I think
Okay.
Isaiah had just kind of set the precedence already earlier in the night from the amateurs on. He was taking points early for any type of fence grab, and he just stayed consistent as to what he was doing. And it was he grabbed the fence bad, and Walter grabbed the fence bad, and Brian, I think, still got the takedown. But
in my opinion, if you grab the fence and they still get the takedown, there's no point it should be taken. That's enough. If it stopped the takedown, yeah, take a point, But I think if the takedown still happens, probably doesn't need to have a point taken. I'll watch that video later. But great fight out of both these guys. Interesting finish.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what had happened if Walter had just had enough, or if he got injured in the midst of everything. But Brian got to a full mount position, I believe, and went for the arm triangle. And as soon as he put the arm triangle in, he tapped. He went over to his corner and apologized, said, "I'm sorry. I couldn't hear exactly what he was saying." But yeah, it was an interesting finish at the end. I'd like to talk to Walter at some point and see how he's doing.
What we were guessing, and he can correct us if we're wrong, is that his nose was busted up and maybe couldn't breathe through it. And as soon as Brian got that full mount position and started to squeeze, I think he was like, he didn't have any recourse for like trying to get any extra air, and he was just like, And Brian's so violent. On top, it was like he had already taken, the stomp kick to the face was.
Yeah, right after that. Yeah, right after the scramble or whatever, and then they went to engage, and when he fucking just hit him with that kick, I was like,
it was right after Walter. Like, they had a good exchange, which I think Walter probably felt like maybe he got the better of, but I think he got tagged on the exit and then was like, yeah, come on. And as Brian closed the distance, he just threw a doorbuster right to the face, and that was some of the beginning to the end, because he ended up doing that same kick again later in the fight that landed flush too. So
yeah, Walter taking that kick.
Brian in the chat said Walter said his nose was broken. So
okay,
I guess in that moment, that dominant position that Brian secured, it probably just felt like impending doom.
Yeah. Brian was relentless in the fight, man. It was a great fight.
Yeah, it was. Before that, we had a featherweight bout between Bashmir Badman Winston and Michael Larimore, who picked up the win via guillotine in round 1. And an impressive performance from Michael Larimore. He's an all-around guy. We know he's got anvils hanging from his wrists, and we know he's competent on the ground. And he just kind of made short work of Bashmir.
Yeah, man. Vic has a very unique set of skills because not Vic, sorry, Larimore. Vic is his teammate. Larimore has a very unique set of skills. He has bombs. He literally throws bombs, and if he hits you, a lot of people panic and they want to take him down. Like, I don't want to be hit by this shit motherfucker again. And they take a sloppy or a poorly timed takedown, to which he also has a very good guillotine. He has a very good front headlock series. So it's like his strengths play into one another. You don't want to get hit anymore, so you take a sloppy shot. Usually front headlocks are there whenever people take sloppy shots. Ended up getting the full mount of guillotine finish, if I remember correctly. It was a very, very impressive scramble to get, to secure that and end up on top there in the full mount. Yeah, I like Larimore a lot, man. He's always comes to perform, professional, does his job, doesn't complain. I like having him with us. And yeah, I don't think Bashmere had an answer for him. It was a artful display of violence from Larimore.
Yeah, and he's 3-1 in bare knuckle, and those guys, they just be cut from a different cloth with the bare knuckle. So,
Yeah.
and that guillotine was in so tight as he rolled over and secured that. It was like cranking his neck too. Like Bashmere was tapping immediately. I don't even think it was a choke. I think it was like a pressure tap.
Yeah.
But look, like he was gonna pop his head off.
Yes.
Prior to that, we had a welterweight bout between Wesley Golden and Ali Abusalam. Ali picked up the win via TKO in round 1 and is starting his year out nicely against a veteran in Wesley Golden. He came out just bum rushed.
I actually missed this fight. It did happen fast, and I had some shit I was taking care of, so I did see Ali got the win, but I did not get to see how it happened.
Yeah, violent strikes. He came out. I had mentioned that he is kick heavy, and he said he wanted to put a little capoeira on display. And in the brief amount of time that the fight was on, he threw half a dozen kicks. Before it ended with some like ground and pound TKO. But it was dominant performance by Ali. Look forward to seeing him back in the Combatagon. Prior to that, we had a bantamweight bout between Christopher Wingate and Dallas Gibson. This was kind of an interesting ending. The fight made it to the end of the first round, but then Wingate didn't answer the bell to start the second round, giving Dallas the TKO, round 1 finish. And he looked good.
Yeah, man, Dallas looked very good. He mixed it up well. Nasty ground and pound. I know he was very mad. That's the way the fight happened or ended. He wanted to, be the one to end it during the round. But I don't blame Chris Wingate if he's in a situation where he feels like, yeah, he's done. He doesn't have a chance to win this fight because Dallas stood, takedown, jiu-jitsu. He did it all in that first round, and there was not a moment where I feel like Wingate had a moment. So rough first round for sure, but a beautiful performance from Dallas Gibson.
Agreed. And he mentioned to us that was his last fight out of Tallahassee. He's moving to Jacksonville. So be interesting to see. I don't know if he already has plans of where he's going to be training over there, if you know that or whatever. But we know he's developed some skills in Tallahassee, and we'll probably just continue to sharpen those tools at some schools in Jacksonville.
He is going to be the striking coach for Art of War out there. So I hope he does not get too focused on being a coach. He's still got a bright future as an athlete. Hope he just remembers he's got to keep himself number one because, it's not easy to be coaching and fighting at the same time. The more roles you start giving yourself, the harder it gets to make it.
He said in the chat, to be fair, he tried to take me down. I just took advantage of it. Fair.
Yes.
Prior to that fight, we had a lightweight bout between Kyle Day and Blake Menard. Blake picked up the win via TKO in round 1, picking up his first pro win. And that is another one that was just over quick.
Yes, and they were both slinging heat to come out gunning. Great job from Menard, staying smart, composed, and violent. He stayed very violent and got the win.
We kicked off the pro card with a bantamweight bout between Kari Williams and Timothy Abdelshahid. Tim picked up the win in the first round via submission to strikes. I know he shot in on him, took an advantageous position, and just overwhelmed him with ground and pound quickly.
Yes, he got the Dagestani cuff and went to town. Even had to look at the referee and was like, "Yo, what are we doing here?"
You're gonna keep letting me do this?
Yeah,
it was impressive performance from Tim, and look forward to this. Yeah.
saying now we go to my 2 favorite fights of the night. If I'm being honest, the amateur portion for me, these last 2 fights of the night, great, amazing fights. Saw some really high level, everything, grappling, striking. I really, really enjoyed these fights, and man, Lucas Smith and Davion Hotel for the belt. Emilio Barco and Matt Hefner could have been for the belt too. Davion, it was interesting. He shot so early. He knows that if he watched Lucas's video that Lucas has really good front headlock series, and Davion almost shot just out of like instinct, but it wasn't the best time shot. And the first round, man, he was in a anaconda. I believe it was anaconda, might have been a Darce for like the entire round. Fought hard to get out of it. I think it was a minute and a half, and it was deep. And if anyone saw Lucas's last fight against Harvey, he finished him with the same choke. So he knows he's got a good one. Davion ended up coming out on top. Looked really good. Stand up, he was getting the better of it. I thought he should have kept it standing. It was again, I think maybe instinctual that I'm going to shoot, but I think he should have kept the fight standing. He was having a lot of success there, and but Lucas was eventually able to get the submission and get the win.
Yeah, that main event of the undercard between a couple of undefeated guys, someone's O had to go, and Lucas Smith picked up the win via rear naked choke in round 2 after a pretty hotly contested, about a round and a half. We'll move on to talk about our undercard co-main event, which was a flyweight bout. And these were some very highly ranked guys in the nation. Emilio Barco, 6-1, Matthew Hefner, 9-0. And I don't want to misspeak, but I think they're both like top 10 in the nation.
Yes, they're high level, very good. Fought a bunch of guys. That was another one that could have been a pro fight, just like Davion and Lucas. I can't wait to see what happens next between these flyweight fights. A lot of fun, exciting fights we can make. I'd like to see, maybe Hefner and Hotel. Saw someone say that in the comments, Barco and Lucas, but and Lucas was called out in Orlando, who I think is should be getting that shot next. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
That bout between Barco and Hefner went to Barco via split decision.
I could have seen it either way, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of similar to the Romello fight. They had a moment. First round was clearly one guy. Second round was clearly the other guy. Hats off to Emilio for understanding. I felt like in the first round he was just diving for takedowns. Wasn't really setting him up. And then he got dropped a couple times in the first round. And I think he realized, I've got to throw hands. I'm not going to get in on this. And I'm going to have a hard time if I'm not hitting him with something first. He ends up dropping Hefner. And now Hefner's concerned about striking and takedown. So, that game plan switch up in the middle of the fight was huge to his success. I could watch those two guys fight 10 rounds. I could watch that fight all night.
Hefner, 19 years old. This was his 10th fight, and he just looked cool, calm, and collected in everything that Barco was throwing at him. And Barco was just like coming nonstop, and he was mixing it up nicely from everywhere, from standing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, everything. Just a great win for Emilio against a young kid that is looking like a real complete fighter. We had, prior to that, one of my favorite types of fights that we have is the extreme Muay Thai, where we have small gloves Muay Thai bout between Tavian Jones and Markeith Simpson. Tavian, the elder statesman of the two, a lot of experience, a lot of technical skill, and Markeith the Savage Simpson. He came out just like that, all gas, no brakes, and got the job done via TKO in round 1.
Yeah, it was nice to see Markeith return to his roots in this fight and come out gunslinging, going for the kill. I feel like he's kind of come out slow in his last couple fights, but where he has the most success with overwhelming guys with his athleticism and power. Man, I was interested in this fight. Tavion came to me after and said, man, these small gloves are different. He's used to doing a lot of fights in big gloves. This one was a small glove fight for him. And then, Markeith, man, props to him. He dropped, I don't know how many times, 2 or 3 times before he finally got the finish.
Mm-hmm.
Just nasty, man. Just nasty.
We had a middleweight bout before that, Henry Enamorado versus Maximo Benitez. Henry won via unanimous decision, evening out his record to 2-2. That was another slugfest.
Yeah, Henry's a stud, man. We've seen him fight a lot down south. One of those losses came after beating the snot out of his opponent. I mean, the ref could have stopped the fight at any time how bad he was winning down in South Florida, and he ended up getting tired, gassing himself out, and then his opponent came back and beat him. But I was interested to see if Henry was going to be able to like stay composed, not overdo it, because in all his fights he's just like a go go go, so I can't go no more. And it was cool to see him go all 3 rounds, stay composed. Showed he had a gas tank, and Maximo was real upset about that fight that he lost in his hometown. But young guy, he's gonna grow from this, and I can't wait to see him get back in there as well.
All right. We had a welterweight bout before that. Brian Paul making his MMA debut versus Devontae DeVoe. Brian Paul was making his MMA debut, but he is an experienced kickboxer. And the Cold Killer versus Human Remains, and that is what he left in the Combatagon. That was a cold-blooded knockout.
Man, that's for sure one of the worst knockouts I've seen live too. It happened right in the corner where I happened to be sitting. Oh, man, and then I'll be honest with you, man. If I put someone out like that, you can't tell me nothing. I'm about to jump on the cage. I'm gonna try to do a backflip off. I'm gonna pull a Corey Taylor. I'm gonna be dancing. I mean, the ignorance that's gonna come out of me is stop. But his composure and his humbleness in the moment was impressive. That he bowed to the audience. Went to his knees, told everyone to be quiet, and just sat there. It was surreal because I just know if I knock somebody out like that, you might have to get the cops to come grab me and tell me to chill.
Yeah, it was a gnarly knockout that he set up nicely with some low kicks. I mean, I think the fight was 17 seconds.
10 seconds.
10 seconds. He came out through something low, took a step back, came back in, little feint, went high, and kabooyah.
Yep.
Before that, we had a welterweight bout. Saif Ibrahim versus Dariush Mirabzadeh. Mirabzadeh. Saif picked up the win via round 1 TKO, and this was a pair of guys making their debut.
Yeah, man, Dar looked like a complete unit. I thought Saif was a little undersized at face-offs. That did not matter come fight day. He brought the pressure. I feel like he was locked in, and I think Dar might have been a little nervous going into his first fight and didn't expect it to happen as fast as it did. I've heard a lot of good things about Dar, so I know that Saif has to be a stud to do with him the way he did it. I'm excited to watch both these guys fight again.
And before that, we had a heavyweight bout between Jacob Irby and Derek DeVoe. Derek picked up the win via TKO in round 2. And Jacob made a point of saying that he, I believe this was him. Nope, that was someone else. Yeah, Derek DeVoe picked up the win in round, the victory via TKO in round 2.
Man, very unassuming. He's looked very impressive in all of his fights, and he's just super unassuming, man. He's like, looks like a very well put together young man. And bro, when he gets in there, man, he throws down. I love watching this guy fight.
Yeah, there was a height advantage for Irby, listed as 6'6", but he didn't look that much taller than DeVoe. But DeVoe, he was 6 feet and 250, and he looked every bit of 250.
Yeah.
And he came slanging them irons.
Yeah.
Before that, we had a lightweight bout between Robert McElroy and Roy the Goblin Slayer Runnels. Roy won via armbar in round 2.
Yeah, it was a very good back and forth up to that moment. Um, you know, he is such an interesting guy, man. He's 3-1 now. He wants a title fight next. I think we'll give it to him. Not give it to him. He earned it. But he's an interesting guy. This guy, I feel like he gives me Dexter vibes.
Yeah, yeah. Cold killer.
Yeah.
We had before that a featherweight kickboxing bout between Quavian Collier and Charisma Morley. Quavian picked up the unanimous decision over Morley, and that's where a little unorthodox style for kickboxing from Charisma Morley. He's kind of got like a karate type of, got kung fu type of stance where he leans back and he's really wide stance, and Quavian was trying to knock his block off, and Charisma showed a lot of toughness throughout that bout, and was getting his licks in. And I thought Quavian was going to like potentially punch himself out as hard as he was going, but he didn't. He lasted all 3 rounds, and I thought he, had an effective and clear victory.
Yeah, I think if Charisma had a little more mustard on some of those shots, I think it would have been Quay would have calmed down a little more because he was landing some shots, but I just feel like from the unorthodox angles and stance he was landing them from, it was hard to kind of have a lot of power on them. But yeah, Quay coming to kill. I love watching guys like that, and they can do it all 3 rounds. I hate it when a guy does that for 1 round and then they die the 2nd and 3rd round. But it's always nice when you see a guy who's got the gas tank and spins it.
After the first round, because he came out so hot in the first round and was landing heavy shots, I was like, oh, this is probably not going to last. As the round was over, he threw his hands over his head and he was breathing heavy. And I was like, uh-oh. And then the next round started and he didn't slow down. And after the 2nd round, the same thing. Threw his hands over his head and was breathing really heavy. And I was like, man, maybe he's going to burn out in this 3rd round. And then the 3rd round came out with essentially the same, amount of intensity and pace. So credit to him in that training and having that cardio on 100.
Yeah, sounds like he took that 1 minute to really relax and get his breath back. I got a guy in the comments. Dwayne Whitehead came out first MMA event. Watch his boy Hotel, and he very much enjoyed the experience at Combat Night, and will be coming back the next time Hotel fights. You ain't gotta wait till he fights, brother. You can come back anytime. I promise you. It's always a great experience. We're only doing them twice a year in Tallahassee, so if you like the show, you enjoy that kind of violence. Don't be afraid to even come when your boy's not fighting. I promise you'll enjoy it just as much, if not more, because now you don't have like the nerves of like your friend fighting. But hopefully you have a Hotel back soon. I'd like to see him get back in there, not take too much time off. I think he didn't take a whole lot of damage. He was pretty dominant in the striking area, in my opinion. So yeah, I'd like to see him back soon.
Prior to that last bout, we had a middleweight Muay Thai bout contested at 185 pounds. Akeem Nelson versus Brenton Bona. Brenton Bona picked up the win via unanimous decision, taking his record to 2-0 against Akeem, who was making his debut.
Yeah, man. Akeem showed a lot of toughness. I thought the first round that Bona was going to get the finish the way he was coming, slinging heat. He was throwing heavy shots. But Akeem stayed pretty composed and, turned it into a fight in the 2nd and 3rd round.
I just looked in the comments. Dwayne responded. He said he stays here in Middle Georgia. Can we get some Combat Night events in Georgia? We've been to Georgia. It's been a few years since we've been to Georgia, but I wish Richard was on the call.
Yeah, Richard got an answer for that one. I do agree. I think we should be in Georgia. But right now, the closest we got is Jacksonville and Tallahassee. Maybe we figure out something once a year. We go to Georgia.
All right. Before that last bout, we had a bantamweight bout between Aaron Shover and Javarius Shields. Javarius Shields picked up the win in round 1 via rear naked choke, taking his record to 2-0 against Aaron Shover, who was making his debut.
Yeah, Javarius, man, he's a great grappler. You saw it in his first fight, his last fight, and we saw it again. Whenever you're that technical and smart and scrambly, it's just going to be hard to beat that guy on the ground, man. He's going for the finish every time. He's not trying to worry about getting the most perfect position. He sees a submission and he takes it.
And we kicked off the night with a featherweight bout between Logan Dietrich and Andrew Zima. Andrew Zima picked up the win via round one, via TKO in round one. And both of those guys are making their debut. And they just really set the tone for the whole night right off the bat. When the first amateur bout is a couple of guys making their debut, and they come out and slug it out. And the first fight was a knockout, yeah.
And he broke his arm. Like, I don't know when he broke his arm, but I know that he was throwing that hand into the final bell. He was throwing it. And then when he put his hands up and hit his head.
And it's when we say broke, it's like you think, oh yeah, he fractured it or something. Like, it's like, no, it was from here. It was
this motion was happening around here. The realization, he didn't realize it. The adrenaline's pumping. He's like, whoa, screaming, ah! And then his hand just drops, and he looks at it and was like, oh, I could go the rest of my life and never see a break like that again. It does something to me to see that, especially it being the first fight of the night. Be real with y'all. If I'm on this card and I see that happen, that's all I'm thinking about till I fight. That's just like oh man, it's like, yeah, it's possible. These guys aren't baking cupcakes. They're getting in there and they're throwing down. And yeah, talk about setting the night. That set the tone for sure. I feel like every fight on this card was a banger. Could end up being the event of the year. It delivered on all fronts.
It starts to sound like hyperbole when we keep saying that, but every event has been amazing and up the ante from the previous one. And yeah, it's just, and it was fantastic. I don't know that I've seen an arm break like that wasn't from a submission, that was akin to like whenever a guy throws a low kick and you see his leg just like flop. It was kind of like that on an arm. I never seen that from punches. And he was 100% throwing that hand in the last flurry before the fight got stopped.
Yeah, I've never, the leg thing is different. Like, you go to step on it and the realization, like, oh shit, and they lose. Usually the person who breaks a limb loses. I think of the fight with Chuck Liddell, Rich Franklin. Rich Franklin broke his arm and he finishes the fight, gets the finish. But I want to say Rich Franklin's arm wasn't flopped. It was like lumped had
like a divot in it.
Yeah, like it was clearly something's not right. His shit's broken. He knew it. And he knew it. This guy had no idea, y'all. He had no idea that he just finished this dude. And man, he literally screamed, just like, yeah. And just, man, I'm happy if I don't see it. I've watched it like 10 times, and every time it's crazy to me. It's so unreal. It's so surreal. It's just not, it's hard for my brain to process. When we post that video, remember I said this, y'all are gonna all lose your mind. Hats off to him too. What a warrior, bro. What a savage. What a savage.
For sure.
I hope it's a clean break. I gotta find that out too. Hopefully it's a clean break, easy, just back together.
Probably gonna have to be some pins in it. I mean, it was.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong.
But that was our card from top to bottom. Amazing night of fights from these guys, and they really showed up in Tallahassee.
Who was your fight of the night?
Let me scroll. I know I said earlier. Overall, or we do a split amateur and.
We can do amateur and pro.
Okay. So on the amateur side, I think I would go Barco Hefner. I think that was really back and forth, close fight, and just an impressive set of skills put on by both guys. And pro, I mean, probably Corey and Girones. I think when we were at lunch today, I blurted out Brian and Walter, so I give them a shout out as well. I think that was another like good fight. But Corey and Girones was really back and forth, both just beating the hell out of each other. Corey, I think, really got tested in a way that I hadn't really seen in a fight that he ends up, winning. That showed just, I think I said earlier, he grew up some in that fight right there because Girones was trying to take his head off and almost did. What about you?
It'd be the same fights. I overall I think that the Emilio fight was probably the fight of the night for me. And then I would even put Lucas Smith and Davion's fight above Corey's fight. For me, those two fights right there were the first and second best fight. Corey's third best fight. Mello and them fourth. It was a great night. It was a great night. Brian and Walter right there too. And then knockout of the night. It's like, man, between Markeith and Cold Killer. I mean, obviously it's Cold Killer. I mean, crazy fight. Crazy knockout. How quick it happened too. But man, Markeith to be that small and have that kind of power in his hands is pretty absurd. And then Vic Dixit's knockout, Corey's knockout, like it was a crazy night, crazy night of fights.
Let me look in the comments here for a second. Dallas said him breaking his arm and finishing that guy was nuts. His reaction when he looked down was priceless. Indeed, it was, and I know we have that captured in every angle imaginable. Corey said, "Proof I'm your favorite fighter." Talking to me, picking his fight for pro fight of the night. Papa G, he said he'd love to see Bashmir get a nice favorable matchup. Kid's got a good heart, just misguided. Bashmir just is fights anybody and everybody, and had a ton of amateur fights and just fought anybody and everybody, and he's continued that in the pros. And
he honestly he picks a lot of fights in on IG. He gets in these back and forth for people, and then it's like, we're both professional fighters, so let's solve it together. So we haven't really even matched a bunch of Bashmir's fights because he gets in these arguments with these guys, and then they kind of match themselves against each other. No, Dwayne, that's going to always be the thing. I wish we could do those 5-round fights for amateurs, but the state's not going to change on that. We've tried here in Florida, but 3 minutes, 3-minute rounds, a lot of time to prove that you're the best.
I see Church in the comments. Shout out to the homie coming through, an OG of the production crew back in the mix in Tallahassee. It was good to see you, buddy. Appreciate you.
Yeah, man, we were missing a lot of our regulars, up there in Tallahassee. The black guy with a beard, as someone said earlier, Miles. Shout out to Matt Grafer coming back. Savannah Bananas. He's been doing that full time, and he had a break, he had a pause in the action for them, so he's able to come over and be the MC for the night. Always love having Matt with us. And then Mason and Tim stepping into the Roadhouse, stepping into the commentary booth to help out with production as well. It's always nice whenever we have those kind of solid backups and they're OGs, and everything still runs as smooth as it did. Because with so many new people in the mix, it's very easy for things to get messed up. So it's nice to be a well-oiled machine where we can just replace parts when need be and still run a smooth event like we did.
Yeah, shout out to Devin as well, filling in. Like we just had, he's our photographer. We just had all over the place. It is guys that work with us regularly, but not our every event guys that stepped up. Some of them on last minute, notice, and we appreciate all of those guys.
Yeah, I love having Devin in there too, man. He's so I feel like he's a regular, but stepping up last minute to come out and be the photographer for the night. It's nice having the familiar faces. And loved having Church, man. It was good to have Church around. Like, I would be cool if we could just find out a way so he could just come around and be the shit talker. Like, can we just bring him on board? And all he does is walk around and roast people all day.
Yeah, he had Faulkner on the ropes. He's like, every time I walk in the room, you're gonna dog me. All right, man. Well, we are. Hope you guys enjoyed the. I'm curious of what the Spectation Sports interaction was like for our fans, because trying that new platform and hoping to do some cool stuff with them there. And
Keith, we appreciate it, man.
yeah, thanks, Keith.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite venue, honestly. If we could take it out of Tallahassee and just travel with that on a trailer, I love the setup. It makes for a good night of events. But it doesn't matter where we are. Keith, you've probably been to a couple of our events now with Lucas Fighting. Doesn't matter where we go, man. We put on a hell of a show, and every venue is a little different. If you haven't, you've probably seen the Kissimmee show, the Beecham show, and now the Moon. Yeah, three venues that I love a lot.
We will be back in action with our next pro installment on March 28th from Kissimmee, and we are looking forward to that. I've already seen some of those matchups coming through, looking like we're going to have a fantastic card down there, of course. For those of you that are fans of the circuit, we will be into Fort Pierce in a couple of weeks for a Rise of a Warrior. So if you've never been to an event, that's another really good one to check out. They are our brethren.
Yes, I cannot wait. I got a busy day. I'm gonna see if I can make it down there for that one.
But we will be back with you guys, bringing a podcast to you probably next weekend. We'll get somebody in the studio and help you get to know more of our fighters. I
think we've already got 7 Perkins confirmed. So
okay,
one of the young guns coming up in the sport. I'm very excited to have him with us. Let me look real quick to make sure, so I don't speak out of turn and say that that's who's coming and it not be him. But I'm pretty sure 7. Looks for.
Yeah, man. Those of you, we're trying to get all tiers of guys, from amateur to pro in the studio with us and help us get to know you better on that level and help your fans and new fans get to know you better. So.
Yep, February 22nd, we got 7 Perkins on the pod. Cannot wait. Like I said, young gun. Don't know a lot about him, so I'm real excited. So, guys, if you're friends or boys with 7, and there are certain questions I should ask to start digging through the layers that is 7 Perkins, send them my way, man. Any advice on what I should be asking these guys is very much appreciated. It makes the shows more interesting. So, you got maybe his origin story or any of those things, how he got his nickname. Send them our way so we can ask the right questions.
Yeah, we definitely like to put him on the spot with questions that come in from the chat from his homies that maybe feel like someone might be holding back something that's worth knowing. Yep. Yeah, I think that's going to do it for us. Make sure you're following us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. You likely are already following us on YouTube if you're checking us out here, but we appreciate you guys, and we will see you this Sunday at. Do you even have a time locked in?
4 p.m., baby.
4 p.m. We'll see you guys next Sunday. Until then, take care.
Are you ready for Combat Night?